Let's go live to Tel Aviv and IDF International Spokesman Doron Spielman. Sir, thank you very much for being with us. I understand that you just had to take shelter moments ago. What's going on there?
Hi, Martha. Yes, it's true. The salvo, I think actually that we saw in the back of the picture with Trey was a salvo that Hamas fired towards central Tel Aviv. I'm in a building right now with soldiers in a residential neighborhood. This has been happening nonstop sirens throughout today in Tel Aviv, all throughout Israel. And this has been really the reality. 8,000 rockets have been shot by Hamas nonstop. This whole time that they're saying there's no fuel in Gaza and there's no aid in Gaza, there's never been a lack of fuel, apparently, for the rockets that they've been sending in our direction. And, we're just lucky we've been investing in, the umbrella that is protecting us with the Iron Dome system.
So tell me a little bit about this is very difficult work because you're trying to go after the Hamas leadership. And we have this report that a commander was killed in this strike at the refugee camp. You also are dealing with 240 Israeli hostages by last count who are being held somewhere in these areas as well. Do you have any more clarity on where they are and whether or not they might be in some of these areas that you're striking?
There is a link between both. Ibrahim Biari was one of the major architects and executioners of that horrific massacre that took place on October 7th. And there's no question that our ability to eliminate him, along with many of his terrorist compadres that were with him at the exact same time in that blast in a single location, is because of our presence right now and the operational status. We've extended our operations in the Gaza Strip. And that's also connected to, Martha, what you said about the hostages. We know just yesterday we were able to release free a hostage, a young woman, a 19-year-old, who was taken hostage, and we were able to release her. Both of those are connected to our expanded operations in the Gaza Strip. And like you're saying, we can see the complexity. Here we go. The pictures that I'm seeing on the screen, my heart goes out to these civilians, but we have to ask the question, why was this Hamas battalion commander literally operating underneath a civilian area? It goes to show exactly what we're trying to face. They have no concern for their civilians, and we're trying to defend our own civilians and eliminate them while trying to minimize, when possible, damage to their own civilians. Unfortunately, the death of any civilians is a reality of war, and we mourn that.
We know there are Americans trapped in the south part of the Gaza Strip who are trying to get out. Hostages as well, American hostages. We lost dozens of Americans as well in these strikes. What is your sense for how we can get that moving, how you can get civilians who want to get out of Gaza out of there as you continue these strikes?
Hamas has been operating in this theater, this kind of theatrical playbook that they inherited from ISIS, which is really based on a simple ISIS ideology, which is to create a massacre against civilians that took place in Israel, retreat behind civilians, go underground. In this case, like you're saying, there are hostages, there are American hostages, Israeli hostages, and then to put civilians in front of our way so that the world diverts its attention to the death of civilians, so that, like the general just said, Hamas can go and just regroup and reattack once again. It's the same ISIS playbook. The way to deal with Hamas in all of the issues, yes, we are working on a hostage angle, but it is to eliminate Hamas. Their cycle of violence, yes, please go ahead.
Let me ask you a quick question before I let you go. You just heard the general, maybe, who I spoke with, General Jack Keane, and also a very powerful piece in today's Wall Street Journal, arguing that the United States needs to go after the Iranian proxies at the heart of where they exist and take out some of these terror organizations in other places to send a message to Iran. Do you agree with that? Would you like to see the American forces take that on?
From Israel's perspective, we obviously have our concerns, and we know that the U.S. has their own assets in the region. We're in constant communication, intelligence communication. We're certainly not directing American military policy. And the key here is this: anywhere, like President Biden said, if Hamas is not stopped on Israel's border, and we're just a few miles from Gaza, we will see Hamas or its like pop up all over the world. It's a concern to America. It's a concern all over the world, which is why the battle that we're facing right now is not just a battle for us. This is a global battle. Hamas represents the bane of evil, which is funded by Iran, and they need to be defeated here. And I'm sure other countries are going to need to do what they need to do so that it doesn't show up on their own doorstep. If not today, then tomorrow.
Obviously, it's a very real concern. We heard from our FBI director today that they're very concerned about Hamas, about agents of Hezbollah, about the potential for attacks on us here at home as well. This is a very widespread fight against these terror organizations. Doron Shpilman, thank you very much, sir. Good to have you with us today.
Thank you.